Today we're gonna make 3 easy and inexpensive Italian recipes with a bag of potatoes and just a few other ingredients. Coming up right now. Okay, so the first one we're making is an Italian potato casserole. This one is probably the most common one that my grandmother made, and she made it almost exactly like this. So we have 5 potatoes, and these potatoes are about medium size, but 2 pounds potatoes is pretty much what you need. 2 onions, those are about 2 medium onions. 1.5 pounds of plum tomatoes. We're gonna use a good amount of olive oil for this, and that beeper is just my oven getting to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, so you can set your oven now too. And then all we're gonna do is we're gonna layer this. We're gonna layer the potatoes, the onions, and the tomatoes with cheese. So I have a 1/4 cup of pecorino romano, and I have Sicilian oregano here. So you can do a lot of layers. You can also do 2 layers. If you do less layers, and I'll show you in a bit, it will cook quicker, but it's really up to you. And then for the topping, we're gonna make a nice seasoned breadcrumbs that has 1 cup of Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. You can use plain breadcrumbs if you want to, because we are adding more seasoning. We're gonna add 3 cloves of minced garlic, another teaspoon of Sicilian oregano, 1/2 teaspoon hot red pepper flakes, 3 tablespoons pecorino romano, and then I have 5 anchovies here that we're gonna turn into a paste. Now, if you don't like anchovies, you can remove them from this. I don't think my grandmother used them. She probably wanted to most of the time, but my mother didn't really like them, so I could see why she took anchovies out of a lot of these recipes. That's just gonna add more of a punch to it, and then we're gonna add olive oil this to get really moist breadcrumbs. Essentially, if you don't wanna use anchovies, say you don't want hot red pepper, you could just mix just the garlic, the cheese, and the seasoned breadcrumbs together, and it will be great too. All right, so first thing we have to do is slice up all the vegetables. All right, so we're gonna use a mandolin. You don't have to use a mandolin here. If you have a sharp knife, it'll be fine too. If you use a mandolin, just be very careful. I'm just adjusting this bottom here to make my blade probably maybe an 1/8 inch, I would say. So this just screws, and then I just push down on it. This is not the most sophisticated of mandolins, but I like it. And I like that it's a fairly wide, so you can fit a lot of stuff in it. Comes with this guard here so that you can use, and then I always, just for double insurance, I always just put a glove on because, you know, if you slip, it's not gonna be good. You're not gonna be able to really continue with the rest of your food. So it has these pokers, and then you can just kind of stab what you're doing, and then it has this rubber so it doesn't move so much. That's pretty good. You can go even a little bit thinner than that if you want, but I think that's good. All right, we're gonna do the rest of them. I'm gonna do the tomatoes in the same way. Tomatoes might be a little hard if your mandolin is not super sharp. And we're also gonna do the onions at that same width too. I don't have to show you all of them, but yeah, if your tomatoes are maybe on a little bit on the soft side, it will be more difficult to slice them with the mandolin. So you can just take your tomato and just cut. Like so. That's good. These are gonna shrink a lot. They're gonna release a lot. For a casserole like this, there's a lot of liquid in the potatoes, in the onions, and in the tomatoes. What you can do if you want to avoid having a ton of liquid in the dish, you can take all your tomatoes, you can even do this with the onions, and you can salt them. Okay, just sprinkle a little bit of salt on them, and I would just put them on a wire rack, put paper towels on a wire rack, and then just salt them that way. So all the water is gonna go through to the bottom. You know, you'll save yourself a little bit of time, but it's nothing that cooking it for a little bit longer can't solve. All right, I'm gonna finish the rest of these. All right, so this is like essentially what you're gonna have. You're gonna have all this fairly thinly sliced, and I was able to run the tomatoes through the mandolin because they're not the ripest. You know, the ones, especially now, this video is being made in May 2nd. Yeah, so, you know, you're not gonna have garden tomatoes yet. In fact, the plant date here on Long Island is May 17th, but it's been warm enough that you could definitely, you know, about 3 weeks ago, it got to about 80, so people might have planted at that point. Still not a good idea because then you could get a freeze and, you know, you could ruin everything. All right, I'm gonna mix up these breadcrumbs. All I'm gonna do here is just combine everything. Okay, 1 cup of seasoned Italian breadcrumbs, 1 teaspoon of Sicilian oregano, that might be a little light, and 1/2 teaspoon of hot red pepper flakes, 3 tablespoons of grated pecorino romano cheese, and then these I gotta make a paste of. Should I do it right into the nice cutting board, Tara? Make a nice anchovy smell on the cutting board? It's fine. It's fine.
Wouldn't be the cutting board I would use, but...
Now, a wood cutting, look, and especially now, people are a lot more conscious of this. Like, everybody's into like microplastics are gonna, destroy the planet. They might be right, but they don't want to use plastic for anything now. So I've even adapted a little bit in these cooking videos. But, using plastic board for stuff like this, you throw it right in the dishwasher. All right, so all I did is I just chopped them a little bit, and now I'm just gonna turn these into a paste with the back of my knife.
So how are you gonna get the anchovy smell out of your nice wood cutting board?
Because I have my, I'm putting a little salt for, to give friction. How am I gonna get it out? I'm gonna do it with my vinegar and water mixture, but what I would do first, from anything that's really bad, say you do a lot of meat on here, say you're cutting pork chops, chicken, and you're almost like embedding them into the wood, use soap and water first. The thing with a lot of soap and water, you gotta get the soap out or you're just gonna make your cutting board all soapy. Then after you do that, you rinse it, then you go back with your vinegar and water mixture. And I just do 1 part vinegar to 2 parts water. I keep it in a spray bottle and I write on there so I don't forget that it's 2 parts to 1 part.
And that eliminates the smell.
It eliminates a lot of the smell. It's like, it like neutralizes it.
Yeah.
And I looked up because a lot of people were saying after I use it all the time, they're like, that's not gonna get rid of, salmonella and stuff like that. In fact, it does. That's what the Google AI overview told me. Okay, so that's a paste now. And I'm just gonna put that delicious paste, and I know you love it, Tara, in there.
I don't have a problem with anchovy. I won't eat like a whole anchovy on its own like you do, but I like the flavor of it when it's in a dish. The thing that I like about these potato dishes is, whenever there's like a winter storm coming and people are like, oh, I gotta go to the store, I gotta get the bread. Oh, what are you gonna do with like the bread? Like, why don't you go to the store and get the 5-pound bag of potatoes?
True.
There's far more
True.
that you could do with that than with bread.
True. And listen, we're trying to solve a problem here. All of these dishes today, I'm not counting the money aspect, but you will be able to see after I make all these, we're talking not $20 per meal. We're talking probably $20 to $25 for all 3 meals that are being made today. All right, I'm gonna put some oil in here. Okay, how much oil? That much oil, right? I just wanna get it to its moist. And I would use a bigger bowl here so you could distribute those anchovies better. So I'm just gonna keep mixing this up until the anchovies are well distributed, and I'll probably moisten it up with a little bit more oil, or we can just put more oil on top. We're gonna start assembling. What I'm gonna do is just pat all these potatoes dry as much as I can. Just try to remove any excess moisture on them. Flip them over, do even more. Okay, and then the same thing for the tomatoes. I already did it one time, but I'm gonna do it again. The tomatoes are gonna have a lot of liquid, even not so ripe ones like this. I would use plum tomatoes in this recipe, like a paste tomato. It has less liquid than, say, like a beefsteak tomato. You can use beefsteak tomatoes from the garden, but I would definitely salt those first to remove a lot of the excess liquid. Paste tomatoes is why these tomatoes are better for making sauce, for the same reason. This recipe is for a 9x13 baking dish, but this is smaller, so I'll probably have to use 2 baking dishes. Another nice type of dish would be something like this. You might recognize this dish. This dish is what I used for the zucchini tomato casserole that's in our cookbook. That was another one of my grandmother's recipes, and there's infinite variations of this, but she would make both of these. They were 2 different ones that she would make. But yeah, anyway, the zucchini one I did in the cookbook, and very similar flavors and everything. Cookbook's here, if you want to buy it. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of oil at the bottom of this. That's olive oil. Just wipe the sides, everything. Okay, and then just start layering the potatoes. So I'm just kind of overlapping them.
This casserole's good cold, too.
I mean, all of these kind of casseroles, all these al forno, so it's like, there'll be a million recipes for this type of stuff. Yeah. Just like potato and zucchini al forno with breadcrumb topping. They're all better at room temperature. Yeah. It allows the whole casserole to settle too. It reabsorbs a lot of the moisture.
And it's good for either breakfast or dinner. Like if you have it for breakfast, like fry up an egg over easy and put it on top. So good.
Absolutely. This is definitely, this is a meal. I would say all 3 of the things we're making today can be meals. Yeah. Putting a little bit of salt on the potatoes, a little bit of black pepper, and then I'm gonna layer these onions in. So I'm kind of like breaking them up a little bit as I do it. But the onions really mellow too in this when this whole entire thing is baked in the oven for a long period of time. And timing is going to be different depending on how many layers you make. So if you're doing like 2 overlapping layers, which essentially is 3 things per layer, that could take up to about 70 minutes. And if you're doing a thinner one, like this will probably just be, we'll just do 1 potato, onion, and tomato. It'll take about half the time. Get some tomatoes in here. Okay, a little bit of olive oil on everything. Some of this Sicilian oregano, so I just kind of rub it here, and then see how it's all in my hands now. Just put it on it. This type of oregano is excellent with potatoes. This would be my herb of choice, and dried like this. It's very pungent. It has a very unique flavor. I mean, when you smell this, you're gonna smell a New York pizzeria. That's like that's the flavor you're gonna get. But if you don't have this and you can't get it, just use like dried oregano. And then some of the pecorino. I use about half of that because I'm gonna do another layer. All right, so I went through all the potatoes and the onions for these 2 dishes. So I would say this is about the equivalent of a 9 by 13. All of this is equal to a 9 by 13. I have a lot of tomatoes left, so I made the recipe numerous times, and I would say, yeah, if you're doing a 9 by 13, you'll be able to spread them out more. You could spread out more tomatoes on that first layer, but I like to save a little bit more tomatoes for the top. This is 2 whole batches, and this is only one batch. All right, so we're just gonna spread these breadcrumbs all over. All right, that's good. I don't have to use all those, but that's close. Save the rest for another use, in the fridge. Okay, I'm just gonna throw a couple more tomatoes on top because everything's gonna cook down a lot. It's gonna look nice to have some tomatoes on top at the end. A little bit more oil, moisten everything up. All right, so these are gonna go in the oven. Now, this one's gonna take longer than this one, but the easiest way to tell, and we're gonna cook it all at 375 degrees Fahrenheit, uncovered the whole entire time. Easiest way to tell is we're gonna poke a knife through, and we wanna make sure that those potatoes are tender on the bottom. Like, we don't want the potatoes to be hard, all right? That's our only concern here, okay? Because the onion and tomato you can eat raw, all right? But we need those potatoes to be cooked all the way through. And this is gonna give us the perfect amount of time to start on our next dish. Okay, so the next recipe we're making is pasta e patate. Now, in Sopranos, Vito refers to it as pasta badane, okay? So I think it originates from pasta patan in Naples. Then it got transferred to pasta badane here. But the easiest and safest way, especially when you're looking up this recipe, is pasta e patate. And it means pasta with potatoes, which obviously it's self-explanatory. So the ingredients are very simple here, and I'm making it a little bit more elaborate than my grandmother would have made it. And most of the recipes she'd make would be more on the simplified side. And like, she wouldn't have used pancetta or guanciale in it, okay? I'm using that here. So you can remove this and just use more olive oil if you want. But I have a 1/4 pound of it, roughly. I have a parm rind. That's just gonna add a little bit more flavor to it. I have 3 ounces of tomato paste. I have 4 cloves of garlic that are sliced. I have 1 medium onion that is diced. Well, my attempt at a dice anyway. I have extra virgin olive oil. I have a small pasta. You can use lots of small pastas for this. I like tubetti. Okay, that's the Cecco's version of ditalini. And small shells would work great for it. The farfallini, I think it is, the little one. Elbow. But I will tell you, the majority of the time when my grandmother would make these dishes, and she would have a repertoire of many of them, okay? Pasta piselli, pasta cecchi, pasta fazool. Every one of them would often be done with what pasta she had left over. So it would be like a combination of like some shells and maybe some ditalini. And then maybe it would be just breaking up some spaghetti or linguine for it, okay? Just anything to make the dishes as inexpensive as possible. It's symbolic of these dishes. I have 2 pounds of potatoes that I diced and put in water. I did this just so they're not brown by the time I show you them. You could do this the night before if you want to, and they'll be fine. I'm just gonna drain it. I mean, you're talking under $10 for the whole family. Okay, so right away, there's 2 ways to make any pasta dish like this. The better way is to cook the pasta in your liquid, in your sauce. It will absorb the flavor more. But you can also do it the way I'm doing it, which I'm gonna boil the water separately. Pasta, it's gonna be a little quicker this way. And it's also good if you wanna do leftovers. You can make your whole potato base, liquid base, and you keep your pasta separate. Okay, you put it in the fridge, and then when you heat up a bowl of this in the microwave or whatever, you can add your pasta to it and it won't be mushy. That's the one advantage to that. Little less than medium heat. Gonna add, again, I'm using guanciale, but I would go with pancetta with this, or I would just go with more olive oil. And I am adding some olive oil too, even though we're gonna get all the fat from there. And we'll probably end up adding more olive oil. All right, we wanna let this cook until it renders all that fat and that it's crispy. This is a 4-quart, 5-quart Tefal high-walled pan. It's not ideal for this dish. We're just gonna be able to fit everything. I'm just doing it so you could see better with the camera, but this is a recipe that you wanna break out your 6-quart Dutch oven for. All right, so it's been going for about 5 minutes. I just had this to prevent splashing. Okay, and that's nice and rendered now. I'm gonna put in the onion. I'm just gonna leave this in here, so what's gonna happen is it's not gonna be crispy anymore. Okay, but we got all the fat out of it. If you wanna like serve this as crispy little pieces on top, you can, but it's not really how this dish is done. Okay, putting that onion in. And I'm gonna let this cook for a few minutes, get that onion soft. So Tara, you asked if the guanciale is burnt?
That looks a little brown to me.
It's get very brown, this one. So this is Lucia brand, I think, or Luciano.
Lucchini,
thank you. That's my third attempt. I don't know if there's a little bit of sugar in it or whatnot, but this, and same thing with their pancetta, gets very dark when you cook it. This brand is very much on the inexpensive side. I think guanciale is only $17 a pound, which, you know, if you go on Amazon, it'll be like 50 or 60, and I just wouldn't buy it. Like, there's no reason. You don't even need it in this dish. Just use olive oil, okay? And it'll be less expensive, too. And you can also use bacon if you want instead of the pancetta, you know. Bacon and pancetta are the same thing, okay? They come from the belly, all right? It's just Italians, you know, want to make it completely different. Now, if you take a belly and you roll it yourself and you season it, you have pancetta. Most American bacon is smoked, okay? And then it'll be seasoned with some other ingredients, but they both come from the belly. Guanciale comes from the cheek. So it has a different flavor profile. It's more funky, which I know Tara and the kids don't like it as much. I think James does, but Tara and my daughter, they would always prefer pancetta in a dish over guanciale. The onions are getting nice and soft, so now I'm gonna add the garlic. And I'm gonna let this go for a few minutes. My heat is relatively low. I'm probably at a 3 out of 10 on the heat scale. Okay, so now I'm gonna add my potatoes in. So I just drained them, I didn't rinse them. If you rinse them, you know, you keep soaking them, you'll remove more of the starch, but you don't need to. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna fit everything in here with the pasta. It's gonna be tight. I'm gonna turn the heat up a little bit. I'm gonna add a little bit more olive oil. So no matter what a recipe says, like my recipe, anybody's recipe, if you think you need more oil, you add more oil. All right, like simple as that. If you start with pancetta or the guanciale, well, guanciale has more fat, but sometimes pancetta will have just a lot of meat and won't render too much fat. So if the recipe says start with it and you're like, I really don't have much rendered fat in the pan, you know, use this and then you add more oil. All right, we'll let these go for about 5 minutes like this. Okay, I'm gonna season these up with a little bit of salt and pepper. I'm gonna use hot pepper, but in my recipe I don't have any hot pepper, but I wanna add it today, so calling it audible. I believe, I don't watch The Sopranos anymore, except for, I always watch the Pine Barrens episode. That's the only episode that I really love. But I believe in this one with Vito and Johnny Cakes, he puts hot peppers in it too, which you can do as well. Like he put cherry peppers in it, I think. Or I know he used cherry peppers for the pork chops, but I think he said peppers in here too. I'm trying to find a clip today, I couldn't even find it. All right, I'm gonna add the tomato paste in now. That's 3 ounces or roughly 80 grams. 85 grams. We want to fry this paste in here with everything else. So let's get it mixed in. Trying to get everything coated with the paste. I'm gonna let this go for about 5 minutes. I'm gonna turn the heat up just a touch. All I'm going to do here now is put about 2 cups of water. You can put even a little bit more. I'm putting that parm rind in there. That's not a part of my recipe either, so I'm just adding another flavor component here. But if you have parm rinds left over, use them for dishes like this. Turn the heat up. I want to bring this to a boil. So this is the part how we're softening the potatoes. Now, there's other ways to do this. You could have parboiled them first, which will speed up a little bit. We're actually going to parboil potatoes for the next recipe that we're doing. And the next recipe we're doing is probably the most iconic of all Italian potato dishes, I would say. Definitely Italian-American. The first 2 I'm making are Italian. Okay, the one that's in the oven, that hails from Basilicata. That's from my grandmother. That's the part that she's from. All right, so this is boiling, finally. And I'm going to cover it And I'm gonna lower it a little bit, maybe about a 6 out of 10. I just want these potatoes to soften now. Okay, so while we have this cooking along, you're gonna check your potatoes every so often for fork tenderness. They still need a few minutes. This has been 40 minutes on our casserole. Now, this one, the potatoes they're getting close. I would say maybe another 10 minutes for this one. And then for this one right here, they're still on the hard side. So this is probably gonna take the full 70 minutes because it's thicker, which is fine. But that's all you have to do. You just have to just check it. All right, so I'm gonna put them both back in the oven. Okay, I'm just turn that off for a sec. Check my potatoes. Take like the biggest piece you can find and just see. They're getting close. Yeah, they're getting close. So at this time, I'll just keep cooking it like on a moderate simmer. And we can cook our pasta now in that water that we already have set up. Salted water, and then just cook your pasta to al dente, to exactly how you like it. So it's just gonna go right in here, and then it's gonna be pretty much ready to eat. All right, we're about 4 minutes away from that pasta, maybe 5. Check these again, I just took a bite of one. It could go a few more minutes, but pretty soft. In the event that they're not soft enough, and like you say, maybe you put your pasta on too long, just drain your pasta, it'll be fine. But you normally wanna have like your sauce, everything waiting for your pasta. The other thing that you can consider here is this dish is served a couple different ways. Some people like it on the dry side. So essentially what I have here, the leftover water and the tomato paste, you mix the pasta in here, it'll get quite dry, especially if you mix some grated cheese in it. And then other people like it more on the soupy side. So the pasta is about a minute away. Let's taste this right now and adjust salt and pepper. We could do it again when the pasta goes in, but this will give us a good, we want to know, I mean, if these potatoes aren't flavorful enough right now, they're just going to get less flavorful when we add the pasta in. Definitely need more salt. So I'm putting a good amount. I didn't go into it, but these are all 3 of these recipes today use Yukon Gold potatoes. They're my favorite potato to use, like universal potato. Like, there's really no dish you can't. They just hold together. They hold their shape better. All right, so I'm just bringing it over here with all the pasta water. You can also drain this, but if you do, make sure that you save a lot of the pasta water. Like, I would save like 4 cups. This isn't the easiest pasta to drain with something like this, but I'll get most of it. So I'm just gonna start by taking some of that pasta water. Start with about a cup. Okay, I'm turning off the heat now because my pasta is done. So I'll pull it off the burner here. I'm just gonna mix everything together. I do like making these dishes more by mixing the dry pasta straight into the liquid. You would just add a lot of water to start. Like start with like, you know, maybe 6 cups. As it absorbs, you just add more water as you need it. The pasta will absorb the flavor better. This way, the pasta doesn't change color as much, but it's still good. All right, let's give it a little taste. Delicious. This liquid that's remaining here, it's all going to evaporate. It's going to be quite dry. So I'll add a little bit more now, and I'm going to save all this pasta water to rejuvenate it when the taste tester tries this one along with the other 2 dishes. All right, so that's pasta patate or pasta
badon.
Pasta badon. I'm just leaving that cheese in there, and this is definitely a dish you want to serve with a lot of grated Parmesan cheese or pecorino.
That looks so good.
It's so just representative of what you can do with very little amount of ingredients. You know, you take the guanciale out of here, then you're dealing with olive oil, 3 ounces of tomato paste, potatoes, and pasta.
Yeah.
And water.
When you remove the guanciale or the pancetta, it becomes vegetarian, and then it's something that's a popular dish for Fridays and Lent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Any of these dishes, once you remove that. All right, so we're going to make the last one. This is the most iconic one, definitely. It's a potato egg sandwich. This one and the pepper and egg are very much a part of Italian-American culture. You know, you take these sandwiches to the beach, take them for lunch. Many people took these to school. So essentially, this is a frittata that has been translated into Italian-American cooking and put on a roll or a hero. I'm going to use these rolls, nice big rolls.
And Jim, when are you coming out with your recipe for the deli rolls?
For the deli rolls, these have been proving very hard to make, extremely hard to make. There is nobody online, anywhere, ever that can make these. Every time they make them, they'll have a wait less than this, and it will be half the size. There's only like 2 bakeries that make these for the whole entire New York metro region, 2 or 3. They're commercial bakeries, and then they bring them to all the different bakeries. That's why they all look the same. I've tried many times and I can't get it yet, but I continue to work on it. This has been 70 minutes. We'll just show you this before I go into the other one. No, it's a little hard still, those potatoes, so this has to cook longer.
What do you want on the timer?
I'm gonna say another 15 minutes or so.
Okay.
No harm here. If it dries out a little bit, just add a little bit more olive oil, which is what I'm gonna do to moisten things up. So if it's too brown, you think it's like burning, just cover it. Okay, so I have 6 eggs here. All I'm doing is splitting my recipe that is on the website in half. That's for 4 sandwiches. We're just gonna make 2 sandwiches today. So I have about 6 eggs. I think it was 10 eggs, which will be fine for 4 sandwiches. I'll use 6. I'm going to use just 2 medium potatoes that are diced, 2 tablespoons pecorino romano, 2 rolls, and then I have some provolone cheese here. Mozzarella would be great too. The cheese is optional. Most of the time it's not served with cheese. A lot of delis, Italian delis, will make these, and the way they do them there is in a massive sheet pans that they put in the oven. So essentially they're making very large frittata, which again, that's what this recipe is. It's a frittata that's on a roll. And they will just cut a chunk, put it on either a roll or a hero for you. Some of them will top it with some cherry tomatoes. I personally love it with some cherry peppers on top and some cheese. All right, so all we're gonna do is just parboil these potatoes. So in salted water, and I have, what is this, like a 4-quart pot? I just wanna cook these until they get almost fork tender. This is gonna speed up the process a lot, so we only have to fry them for a few minutes. Okay, and for our egg mixture, you're just gonna crack some eggs into a bowl. I'm doing 6 eggs, which probably be a little bit more than we need for 2 sandwiches. But nothing wrong if these sandwiches are a little bit on the big side. Okay, 2 tablespoons of pecorino romano. Good pinch of salt too. Black pepper. And that's it, just beat these together. I'm gonna just put this off to the side because we're gonna wait for our potatoes and then we're gonna fry them. All right, so I'm gonna pull my potatoes off when they're almost fork tender right now, but not quite. Just gonna lay them out here and dry. You can let them, the steam evaporate or just pat them dry pretty well before we start frying them. And like almost fork tender. Okay, maybe I did it a little bit longer than I should have. No, that's good. Because I'm doing 2 sandwiches, I'm using a 10-inch nonstick pan. For if you're following the full recipe for 4, a 12-inch pan would work fine. But this will be good. Okay, I'm gonna put some olive oil, maybe a little bit more. All right, so we're just gonna put those potatoes in. So basically, whatever amount of potatoes you wanted to kind of get that one layer. So if you double in the recipe and you're using a 12, you should be fine. We don't have to get a lot of color on these. We just want to get a little bit lightly golden and cook them so they're nice and soft when we have it with the egg. If you just want frittata recipes, we have a few of those on our site. And you can make frittatas with anything you want. Anything you have in the fridge, throw it together. Anything that you think will go together, put it in there.
Yeah. And
then when you do a regular frittata, I would use just a cast iron pan. I would just use 12 eggs, get your cheese, everything in there, and then just bake it. Bake it until a toothpick is just a little bit wet still in the middle of it. That's it.
Yeah, you don't want to overcook it.
Yeah, but we're doing it in a pan today, so we're gonna use a little bit different technique. All right, I'm just gonna try to move them around, flip them over a little bit if you can. That's pretty much the color that we're looking for there. I mean, they'll be like a little brown on that side, but not much. Just keep the heat around the same, about medium. I'm gonna season with salt, pepper, and the cheese one more time. And then just pour it all in. You can mix it together if you want, like a scrambled egg. It's fine to do it that way, but I just like to cover it. So it's almost kind of like an omelet almost. Let it go for about 3 minutes here, and then we're gonna flip it. You just don't want to overcook it. You don't want it to be super dry. That's really the bottom line here. So, maybe check it 2 minutes. Because there's a lot of eggs in here for the pan, I'm just going to pull. Okay, just try to get most of it off there. So it'll hit that side. And just let it keep going. It's probably like 2 minutes, so it probably will take about 4. Okay, so it's been about 4 minutes. Still quite wet on top, but what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna put it on this plate. Okay, like that. Just get a glove on when you do this so you don't burn yourself, like that. And then flip it. And then now I'm just gonna cook this for like a minute. I turned off the heat, just like another minute. Just take like a toothpick, just go through it. Okay, and it should just be like a little bit wet, but not much. There's a lot here. It's definitely more than 2 sandwiches worth. All right, so you have this side here like this, and then the other side like that. All right, so you got a nice roll.
That's a big sandwich.
And I like to put foil and paper for the taste tester. So just take a piece of paper like so. More olive oil on it, even on the bottom of the roll and on the top of the roll. You want it to be kind of oily. And then James, I think, is gonna like the cheese. Maybe 3.
Can you put one in between the layers?
You definitely can.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna melt because I'm wrapping it now
Right.
anyway. Okay, we're just gonna do a wrap on this. Then again, I don't know if I can fit it. Yeah, barely. Okay, just got it. Okay, so there's your potato egg. I know it's not the most impressive thing, Tara, but it really hits the spot.
I was thinking that it needs some cherry peppers.
Cherry
on
peppers.
it.
You know, I said that, you know, for
Yeah.
people that are into that sort of thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I personally would put it on. And then what's good is when you put it in the foil here, it's going to steam that cheese and keep the egg moist and everything for when the taste tester comes down. So just turning like this, like this, like this, like that. All right, right before we bring the taste tester down, sandwich that we just made. Okay, this is the first one we made that took the longest. Nice casserole, it smells delicious. Finally, pasta patate. This one's gonna need a little bit more liquid. You can see how much it dried out, but we'll ask him. Some people like this more on the dry side with just the cheese, and some people like it swimming, so I have all that pasta water I saved. We're gonna bring them down right now. Okay, James, 3 dishes, all made with majority potato.
What is this?
That is a potato casserole.
Casseroles, just like
Casseroles are just that? Okay. Well, why don't you start with that one first?
it's pretty good. I won't say anything about anything yet. What is this, like pasta visual?
It's pasta patate, so it's pasta with potatoes.
So pasta visual potatoes, basically.
Yeah, just no beans, no fazool.
Yeah.
Yeah. The potatoes replace the beans.
That looks good.
Yeah. I'm not like the biggest fan of this one specifically. I think it's like it's good, but like it's not that good, you know? Like I'd rather like it seems like an appetizer. Like I'd rather eat like honestly something else. It's not bad. Like
What do you think could make that better?
Well, I'm a little biased because I'm not the biggest fan of breadcrumbs. Like
Okay.
I don't
Alright,
I don't like baked clams. I don't like breadcrumbs on my mac and cheese. I just don't think breadcrumbs are that good, honestly. I'm not a big fan. These two are good. Like the thing about these two though is that they're both like very like solid, very good, but they're kind of inferior to other dishes in my opinion. And don't get me wrong, like this and this are great, but pasta fazool is just like better than this. Like, and honestly, like it's not any like more money. It's probably less actually because it's just beans instead of potatoes. They taste exactly the same though. It's literally just like the consistency. Like I'd rather eat like a bean than a potato. That's about it. And then potato and egg. Like it's great. Like I would get this from like a deli or something, or like I would ask you to make it for me. But like pepper and egg is just better. Like I mean, this has more like calories though, I guess.
Like with a different cheese?
Or cherry peppers.
Or cherry peppers,
I like cherry
or roasted
peppers
red
on it.
peppers?
Oh yeah, cherry peppers on it would be really good. Like I would say right now that this is like a 8.5 out of 10. I don't think it's a 9 because I think pepper and egg is like a 9 out of 10.
Pepper and egg a little wetter. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Right?
I think provolone's good. With some cherry peppers on this though, it'll probably be like a close to like 10. Like maybe
Roasted red
9.5.
peppers. Some places put like cherry tomatoes on it, like sauteed
Some like
cherry
vinegar
tomatoes.
peppers. Like
Yeah.
so that's an 8.5.
Okay.
Solid. This, honestly, I said it's inferior to pasta visual, but in my opinion, it's like basically the same exact thing. So I would say pasta visual is like a 9. if you make it good, it's a 10. I would say this is a 9. This, I'm not the biggest fan. Like I said, I don't like breadcrumbs really. I'm not gonna say it's bad though, because I do like the onion to like potato. Like I feel like potatoes and onions are always good. Like when you eat home fries with some onions in there, so it kind of reminded me of that. So I think that's like solid, but the breadcrumbs kind of just like ruin it for me. But I know you need breadcrumbs and something
without
like that.
breadcrumbs, it would be very like one-dimensional, I think.
I'm biased, so I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay. All right. So 7.
That's just my opinion.
What was it? 7, 8.5, and a 9, or
7, 9, 8.5.
Oh, this gets more than this, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Listen, I hope you enjoyed this episode.
This is the thing about this, that it's like good, but it's dry. Yeah. Like I feel like because you're eating like bread, then potato, then egg. Like the thing about the peppers is that like with the pepper and egg, it's that it makes it wet. Like
you're right, and that's why on this one I put more oil, but you need even more oil.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think oil will do it. I think you need peppers.
Or a topping of cherry tomatoes, something like that's really juicy.
Honestly, I think pepper, potato, and egg would be good. Like the same peppers.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
That's probably the best one, honestly. Yeah. But that's just my opinion.
All right. Well, we appreciate your opinion, and we appreciate you watching this type of video. If you want us to make more of these videos where we take a very inexpensive ingredient and we show you how to make 3 dinners, I mean, because even though James thinks this is an appetizer, you make a really large dish of it and you serve it with a salad, it would be a dinner. And clearly the other two, both served with salads too, are dinners. But there's so many other ingredients that we could do the same thing. Like we could do a video like this with peppers. We could do a video like this with tomatoes. We could definitely do a video with eggplant. I think all 3 of these dishes total were under $25, maybe $30, but that's talking total. So you get 3 full dinners from it.
Yeah, make these for like just like 4 of these, like for a family of 4, like it'll fill you up. Like I'm already like almost full from just half of this.
Yeah, and you can make heroes too, make them even bigger. All right, we'll see you next time.